call me when you're finished and let me know how it went. And remember, I know you know this, but it's just an internal review. It's not a legal proceeding, so you don't have to answer any questions if you don't want to.
It's just going to be Portia, Terry, and me talking. We're all on the same side. We just want to know what happened to Dex Heller.
Oh, you're not the only ones.
Call you when I'm done.
Nurse Baldwin, thank you for coming. Please, have a seat.
So now we're finally seeing Terry do her job. What a shocker. I mean, thank goodness they decided to show her actually stepping in to run things. Because for the longest time, it was just Portia doing everything while Terry was mysteriously absent. It's like Terry's the supposed chief of staff, but the only time we actually saw her make a decision was when she rehired Brad. Wow, groundbreaking. Meanwhile, Portia's over here making all the calls, running the hospital, and let's not forget, changing test results like it's no big deal. Sure, I really like Terry more than Portia, but at this point, Portia's practically the chief of staff at this point. Maybe Terry should be getting some pointers from her on how to, actually be present at work. And let's not forget Brooklyns history, shall we? I'm honestly shocked no one remembers this. Brooklyn ran away from Bensonhurst when she was 17 and hid in Port Charles under a fake name for months, before Ned finally put 2 and 2 together. That was years before Dante ever even showed up in town. The timeline checks out, people. She got pregnant with Gio when she was 16, had him at 17, nothing new here. And just to be crystal clear, this has nothing to do with Carly allegedly paying her to seduce Dante. That whole situation came way later. Seriously, it's not that hard to follow the math. 38-year-old Brooklyn, 21-year-old Gio. Do the math, she was pregnant in the summer at 16 and had Gio the following spring. Not a rewrite, just some backstory from when Brooklyn was MIA on screen, long before we even knew Dante existed. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. Great! Now people are mad at Ingo for exercising his right as an American. That right we're supposed to be supporting? It's such a wonderful thing to see, especially in this crazy world. It's proof that Americans are still free, that individuals still have a voice, just like we do on here every day. So why shouldn't Ingo get to speak up? Our voices are being heard, right? And speaking of chaos, what's the deal with General Hospital? Can someone please tell me what's going to happen to Michael? He's saying he's leaving and never coming back. Someone's even claiming he'll just die off screen. Honestly, it wouldn't be the weirdest plot twist. Oh, and now Eden McCoy is on her way out too. At this point, why don't they just hand out walking papers to the whole cast and call it a day? In other news, it turns out the mysterious buyer of Windermere was the Cassadines. Martin confirmed it to Alexis, so that whole anonymous buyer mystery is solved. Guess Nicholas must have bought it back. What a twist. Poor Brooklyn. She wants to get pregnant so badly, and now I'm wondering, does she have endometriosis? They really should have explored that storyline more instead of dragging out every other plotline. As for Willow, seriously, she knows Michael's a good father, but she's still listening to Nina, who, by the way, has repeatedly wronged her and hates Michael's entire family. Someone needs to knock some sense into her. I'm calling it now. Michael's going to find out Sasha's pregnant with his baby, and he'll just run off with her to start a new life. Because why not throw another complication into the mix? And for the love of all things soap, why didn't Jax even get a mention in Joss's whole I'm grieving Dex storyline? I mean, I get that she's probably too busy being dramatic, but surely her dad would have reached out, right? I don't know if it's just me, but isn't it a bit ironic that the same people who whine about absent fathers on this show are the ones cheering Nena on as she manipulates Willow to take her children away from Michael? The guy who's been nothing but a loving and devoted father to his kids. And then there's the whole confusion surrounding Amanda Setton's religion. Apparently her father's Sephardic, her mother's Ashkenazi, so yeah, her family's got roots in Spain and Eastern Europe. But I guess people missed that in their quest for a juicy headline. Now, for those still scratching their heads about the whole thing, here's the breakdown of the main Jewish branches. Orthodox Judaism, strict laws, no driving or cooking from sundown Friday to Saturday. It's all about tradition and keeping things kosher. Conservative, a little more relaxed, but still in the ballpark of tradition. And Reform, well, it's mostly about the spirit of tradition rather than the letter of the law. But back to Nina. People love to blame her, accusing her of trying to keep Willow and the grandkids all to herself. But here's a fun little fact. If Willow had listened to Nina from the start and stayed away from Drew, she and Michael would still be a happy family. Nina didn't start out trying to break them up. She's just making the most of the situation now. And really, when it comes to Nina, it's like mother, like daughter. How far is she going to go in her quest to raise those grandkids without their parents? Spoiler alert, Nina's willing to do whatever it takes to keep Willow and the kids with her, far from Michael and his family. And once that mission is complete, well, let's just say, don't be surprised if Grandma Nina takes a page from her own mother, Madeline Reeves, and puts her daughter in a coma, just so she can raise the grandchildren. It's all part of the never-ending cycle of family drama, isn't it? History repeats itself after all. Some General Hospital fans are up in arms, criticizing Carly for getting all riled up and yelling at Willow for cheating on Michael, especially given Carly's own colorful history with infidelity. But here's the thing, Carly's not exactly being held to some mythical innocence standard. Like everyone else, she's got baggage, but she's also a mother, and that means she has every right to be furious with Willow for messing with Michael and hurting her grandkids. Plus, don't forget Carly's also entitled to be mad at Drew for doing the same thing. The mom's protective instincts don't just vanish because her kid hits adulthood. Now Michael, he's a genuinely good guy. He still loves his wife, and honestly, he gets why she fell for Drew. He knows Drew played on that vulnerability, but it doesn't excuse what Willow did. Michael isn't holding it against her, though. He gets it, even if it doesn't make it right. Then there's Carly's classic line, "You weren't thinking about the kids when you had your last sleepover." Translation, don't mess with her kids, or else. Carly's not one to take lightly to someone hurting her offspring. And when it happens, you better believe she'll go straight for your throat. You've been warned. Classic Carly. What a charming family dynamic we have here. Let's start with Willow, who seems to have a knack for complicating things. First, she makes things messy by being unfaithful to Michael with his uncle. And then she moves on to Drew. Never mind the small detail that Drew, the man she's so into, has already been involved with her mother, Nina, and of course, has a history with Willow herself. Quite the tangled web, right? Then there's Nina. She knows exactly what's happened with Drew, yet instead of being open with Willow about her past involvement, she stays quiet, allowing the secrets to linger. At this point, it's hard to see how she's any different from Willow in terms of keeping things hidden. And Drew? Well, he's not exactly playing it straight either. Instead of being honest with Willow about his history with Nina, he just keeps the truth to himself. It's a lot of deceit all around. In the end, it's all just a rather complicated and, let's be honest, questionable situation. Lulu's not missing a beat, huh? Let's break it down. It's been 4 years, and Jason wakes up with amnesia and a brand new personality, but Lulu? She just pops out of a facility, hops into a ride, and knows how to do everything like it's second nature. Oh, and she's been awake for what? Less than a month. Maybe? Depends on which version of the General Hospital timeline you're following. She's got an iPhone, although I'm not sure if it's hers or if it's Rocco's, and she's gliding through life without breaking a sweat. Honestly, I'm still trying to figure out what day it is between Christmas and New Year's, but Lulu? She's got it all together. Passport? Check. Expensive carry-on luggage? Check. Designer clothes? You bet. She even waltzes into a big airport on Christmas Day, gets herself a first-class ticket to Prague, because why not? According to Laura, it's a big airport, so that makes it okay. On a side note, I would have at least called or texted Robin, "Hello, it's Christmas, people." But I guess Lulu's too busy to keep up with those pesky details. Now let's talk about the whole "she just gets up and goes" thing. I know iPhones existed 4 years ago, and sure, her passport is probably still good. But here's where I get stuck. Did she stop at Best Buy to grab a tile tracker for Charlotte's bag? Does she think Charlotte won't notice? And seriously, how is Lulu so chill with the whole "I'm out of a coma and off to Prague" thing? I mean, I've had a couple of hospital stays, and I couldn't even move without calling the nurse to unhook me from 1,000 machines. IVs, heart monitors, you name it. And of course, I'm usually drugged up with morphine. But Lulu, she's good to go. Just wiggle that big toe and off she goes, full speed ahead. And don't get me started on Port Charles Airport. I'm pretty sure it's the smallest one I've ever seen on TV. Do they even have a Starbucks, a Hudson News, something for the jet setters to enjoy while they wait? It's honestly a miracle Lulu didn't trip over a luggage cart on her way out. With the recent casting of a clearly older actress for Emma, there's been a lot of chatter about how her character's being rewritten. But honestly, this video from before all 4 kids were aged up is a perfect example of how they used to interact. What's refreshing to see in this clip is that Emma wasn't always the goody two-shoes we've often been shown. She could keep secrets just like the new version of Emma. Imagine that. She had a little edge too. And let's talk about the Joss-Emma dynamic for a second. Back in the day, Joss was into Cam, but pretended to date Spencer just to make Emma and Cam jealous. Naturally, Emma exposed their fake relationship to Cam. Joss then turns around, confesses her love to Cam, and throws a bunch of insults at Emma. It's actually pretty hilarious, and gives us some insight into why Emma might act the way she does toward Joss. But here's the thing. I don't understand why people are so hung up on Emma being different now. Sure, we've seen her pop in for brief appearances over the years, but those have mostly been with her grandparents, so of course, she's been pretty tame in those moments. So let me get this straight. Everyone here believes that the exact same person you were as a kid is exactly who you are as an adult? That you've stayed the same, with all your adult behavior being in perfect harmony with the way you acted as a teenager around your grandparents? Please, of course she's different, and even if they had kept the same actress, these personality shifts as Emma moves into adulthood would be totally realistic. So, if they make this a thing, is this some bizarre throwback to the good girl Robin falling in with the rough crowd, first with Stone and then Jason? Because honestly, Gio's looking like the clean-cut saint of this duo. I didn't catch Emma's previous run on the show, so this whole thing is pretty amusing to me. Guess I'll have to do some digging to figure out what I missed. But here's the thing. It feels like they're just recycling the Robin versus Carly drama. The problem? Those two have clearly moved on, and Joss doesn't even seem to care about Emma at all anymore. From what I can tell, Emma's coming off as the mean girl trying to poke at Joss. Maybe Joss deserves it from years ago, but honestly, I'm more of the move-on camp. Now that everyone's all grown up, I'd much rather see them dealing with current issues if they're going to try and set up some rivalry. Gio's already tight with Joss, Trina, and even Sunny, while Emma's fighting an uphill battle. No matter how much she tries, Sunny's always going to pick Carly. Robin's influence doesn't change that. And don't forget Christina and Joss have gotten close again, plus Michael's in the mix too. Bottom line, if they want Emma and Joss to be enemies, they need something fresh, not a tired rehash of Robin versus Carly. I've got a few thoughts on the whole Willow and Drew situation that I need to get off my chest. Let's be real, Drew definitely set out to steal Willow from Michael. He can claim he didn't, but I think we all know he was scheming from the start. If Drew truly felt bad about kissing Willow in July, he would have done the decent thing and kept his distance after that. He would have listened to Curtis, stepped back, and not let things escalate. But as we all know, he didn't. And then there's that little moment when Drew told Nina he wanted Scout to spend more time with Willow. Nina called him out for using his daughter to get closer to her, and Drew just straight up asked her, "What are you going to do about it?" No denial there, so yeah, pretty sure it was all part of the plan. Drew's been trying to isolate Willow from Michael and paint him as the bad guy. He's succeeded too. Willow now thinks Michael's the devil for, I guess, stealing Aurora from Drew, the saint who has never done anything wrong in his life. And now Drew set his sights on becoming Wiley and Amelia's new dad. Seriously, this guy is on a mission to take Michael's whole family. First, he'll convince Willow to go for full custody. Then next thing you know, he'll ask her to move to DC with the kids. Yeah, nothing creepy about that at all. As for Willow, her view of Drew and Michael is definitely tied to her childhood. Growing up in that cult, she got used to falling for people who preyed on her, like Shiloh, who told her everything she wanted to hear. They convinced her they were all she needed, and she didn't have the strength to see through it until it was too late. She's got this hero complex, which means she'll fall for anyone who plays the savior. I'm not sure she ever really loved Michael or Chase, and I'm not convinced she actually loves Drew either. She loves the idea of them. These strong, caring men who'll swoop in to save her because no one saved her when she needed it. No one rescued her from dawn of day. She had to save herself. So now she's basically mesmerized by anyone who seems like a hero. Drew rescued Liesl to save Willow, and ever since, he's been a saint in her eyes. Now that Drew has shown interest in her, she's determined to be with him, husband be damned. She refuses to see Drew for who he really is, and it's probably the same pattern she had with Shiloh. He's the amazing guy who rescued her, and she'll do anything for him, even if it means hurting Michael. Now, if Willow eventually breaks things off with Drew after finding out about him and Nina, I really hope that's not the end of it. It would be great if they explored the cult aspect more because, let's face it, Willow's actions aren't coming out of nowhere. They're a direct result of her upbringing. I really hope someone finally points that out to her and she has some sort of epiphany. Maybe she'll go talk to Kevin or some other therapist and try to get a handle on her issues. As for Drew, what a joke. This version of him is a total loser. He knows he'll always live in Jason's shadow, and that drives him insane. He's just an afterthought to everyone in his life. Sam, Carly, Sonny, Michael, the Quartermains. They'll all walk right past him to get to Jason. Even Aurora is a result of Jason's money. Drew's convinced that what he has with Willow is so special, but the truth is, she's the only one who sees him as anything other than the lesser Quartermain, twin, and a sleazy opportunist. And screwing over Michael is just an added bonus for him. Does he care about Wiley or Amelia? Not in the slightest. He's not interested in actually being a dad to his own daughter, let alone a stepdad to someone else's kids. He just wants the title without the responsibility. Honestly, Willow needs therapy. She can't keep blaming the cult forever while sitting on her high horse and judging everyone else. It's time for some real self-reflection. Not sold on new Emma. I mean, yes, it's early, and I'm sure the actress is a sweetheart, but Emma's coming off as weirdly off-putting and abrasive. Emma was always such a nice girl, even up until her most recent visits. A lot of people seem hyped about a new teen troublemaker, but Charlotte's right there. Honestly, just bring back Jake. He was practically raised by Helena, so he'd fit in perfectly. This feels like if they recast Cam and suddenly made him a frat bro on contract. It just doesn't make sense. Honestly, I get the vibe that Emma's running from something back home. Instead of dragging out some big dramatic mystery, I'd much rather have Anna just call Robin and get to the bottom of it. Sure, I'm glad Emma's back, and the young adult storylines could definitely use her, but I'm over the whole returning character with a big, mysterious secret trope. Just tell us already. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.